three in mind.
Well, okay, so Jake was leaving, no? He said goodbye, adios to Singer. And when he leaves the house, he sees Mick. You remember that Mick was sitting on the staircase, on the banister.
Because it's her house. It's her house.
It's her house, and you remember that she wanted to listen to classical music because there was a lady who
Yes.
who had a radio, but this day the lady didn't turn on the radio, so she was sitting there, no, and Blount or Jake saw her on the staircase, and he seems to remember her. He's not very sure because when he met Mick, he was completely drunk.
Yes.
Yes, and so he says a young gun was sitting on the banisters of the house. He had seen her somewhere before. He remembered the boy's shorts she was wearing and the way she squinted her eyes. He held up the dirty roll of overalls. I want to throw these away. Nowhere I can find the garbage can. So Mick tells him that he can go to the backyard to throw away the overalls. When he goes out, he can see two Negro men. So you see how all the characters start connecting, no? These two Negro men, at the beginning, we only get the general description, as usual. One of the Negroes was very tall, and his tie and socks were brilliant green. The other was a light mulatto of average height. He rubbed a tin harmonica across his knee. The one with the harmonica is the one who works at the bar. At the you remember in the kitchen of the bar.
Yes, yes.
So we know that this is William. So all the characters are connected somehow. They are there in the backyard of the house, of the Kelly's house, because who are they?
Portia. They are waiting for Portia.
They are waiting for Portia, the
His
colored.
sister and his sister and the other boy's wife.
Yes, one is her husband, High Boy, and Willie is her brother. Okay, so
Yes.
Willie is the brother
of Portia.
Portia.
Portia. And we will see now that Willie and Portia, both of them, are the children of Dr. Copeland's, of the Black Doctor. So you see,
yes.
They are all connected. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so then the girl, Mick, asks Jake, "Are you keen to Mr. Singer?" she asked. "Not a bit. Good friend. Good enough to spend the night with him." No? "I just wondered, which direction is Main Street?" "2 blocks down this way." So you see how in this novel, all the characters meet, kind of superficially. They meet and they separate, no? The only one that, in a way, congregates everybody is Singer. That's why I sent you this information about the music, the fuga, yes? Because it is yes, Maria Teresa, yes, tell me.
And Singer is not the main character.
No.
The other four are more important than him.
Yes, but he's like the kind of central character in the sense that all the others are always around him, no, like satellites. And in this first part of the novel, we have the voices of the characters appearing like in music, one after the other, yes? And they kind of add. One adds to the other, and then to the other, and then to the other, no? Like in music. So then Jake leaves the place, and he goes behind the three Negroes, Portia, High Boy, and William. The three Negroes were walking slowly ahead of him, talking among themselves. Because he felt lonely, in the unfamiliar town, he kept close behind them and listened. The girl held both of them by the arm. She wore a green dress with a red hat and shoes. The boys
And the
walked.
colors
Yes,
and the colors of the boys' clothes, no?
yes, and
Green,
also
red.
Portia.
And
Portia
Portia
was
too. Yes.
in a green dress with a red hat and red shoes.
And the others, the green and red socks.
Yes. Well, why is this important here? Well, on the one hand, because it shows the way colored people like to dress, no, in very vivid colors. And also because you will see later that Dr. Copeland, their father,
Mr. Black, Mr. Black, I would call him.
yes,
Black.
he didn't like their family to dress in vivid colors. He wanted them to be dignified and to dress in black, no? So this is something that he could not, obtain. He could not get this, habit for his children. Well, they are talking and they say that they are going to church. Remember that Portia said that she was a member of a Baptist church and that she went always to the church, etc., etc. No, and remember that today is a Sunday. So the girl sang her answer in 3 different tones. Okay, and after church, I got a notion I ought to go and sit with father for a while, just a short while. So we know now that Portia is going to visit Dr. Copeland. The main street was quiet and hot, almost deserted. He had not realized until now that it was Sunday, and the thought of this depressed him. We get all the description of the city. Everything is empty, dark. There are no people in the streets. The sun felt like a hot piece of iron pressing down on his head. The town seemed more lonesome than any place he had ever known. The stillness of the street. So you see, everything is like paralyzed. And, at the same time, Jake Blount felt like that. He felt alone because he didn't know this city. He was a stranger. So he went into the Fruta candy store to buy a paper. And he started reading the help wanted column. So he was looking for a job. In all the list, he chooses this one, wanted, experienced mechanic, Sunny Dixie show. So this is an ad asking for a mechanic for the fanfare, yes? So he decides to go there. Without knowing it, he had walked back to the door of the restaurant where he had spent his time during the past 2 weeks. This was the only place on the block besides the fruit store which was not closed. This is funny because the cafe is never closed. It doesn't close at night. It is open on Sundays, yes? So he decided to enter the place. The cafe was very dark after the brightness outside. Everything looked dingier and quieter than he had remembered it. Brannon stood behind the cash register as usual, his arms folded over his chest. But this time, Alice, his wife, is there. His good-looking plump wife sat, filing her fingernails at the other end of the counter. So Jake looks at Brannon, and he asked for a package of cigarettes. And then he says, "How much do I owe you?" So Brannon opens a copybook, no? And it is funny because instead of writing numbers, instead of figures, he wrote checks and crosses. And he understood that that was his code, no? And it is funny because on the page there were little round seated cats with long curved lines for tails. The faces of the little cats were human and female. The faces of the little cats were Mrs. Brannon. So the husband entertained himself drawing cats, but the face of the cats were the face of his wife, no? So this is for a psychologist to interpret. Well, so after looking at the copybook, he says that he owes him about approximately $20. And Jake says, well, it'll take me a long time, no? There's no big hurry. So what kind of place is this town? Look at the question that Jake asks. What kind of place is this town? Ordinary. So the idea is that this town, we don't know the name of the town, but this town is like any other town in the south of the United States in 1938, no? What population? Around 30,000. Mostly mills. That's right, 4 big cotton mills. Those are the main ones. A hosiery factory, some gin and sawmills. What kind of wages? I'd say around 10 or 11 a week on the average. But then, of course, they get laid off now and then. What makes you ask all this? You mean to try to get a job in a mill? So Jake says, no. I think I go around and look into this. And he shows the ad to Brannon, no? So Brannon says, yeah, I've seen that show. It's not much, just a couple of contraptions, such as a flying genie and swings. I sent you the picture of a flying genie, porque...
It's a merry-go-round, ¿no?
Claro, pero viste que había acá cuando estaba, ¿cómo se llamaba el lugar donde yo iba de chica? Ya me olvidé. El Ital Park. Había uno que eran sillas que giraban así en el aire.
Sí.
Las sillas voladoras,
Sí.
bueno, es más o menos algo como eso, pero este tiene caballos, o sea que debe ser más como una calecita.
Inés,
Sí.
y en una oportunidad estaba con mis hijos y mi marido en Ital Park. Empezó a llover y nosotros nos quedamos guarecidos. Y estas flying seas, estaba la gente arriba dando vueltas con la lluvia. Es un peligro.
Sí, pero la pasábamos tan lindo. Era tan divertido. Bueno,
Mis hijos le encantaba Ital Park. Sí.
sí, yo me acuerdo, yo era chica y me llevaba a mi papá y me compraba las cosas esas de azúcar, esas era como un gran paseo, bueno, el Little Park. Ok, so this flying genie es una cosa así, y swings son las hamacas. And it says something interesting. It corrals the colored people and mill hands and kids. So this place, he calls it a show, no? It's like a fanfare, corrals the colored people. So the colored people go there because they are accepted there. It's a place, a cheap place. That's the idea. And the people who work at the mills also went there. They move around to different vacant lots in town because, the shows moved from one place to the other, like the circuses. Show me how to get there. And so he tells him how to get there. And did you go on home with Singer this morning? Jake nodded. What do you think of him? So it is interesting, no? Because now he wants to know what he thinks of him. But Jake, because you remember that Brannon is always thinking of people, about people, trying to understand what people are thinking, no? So he wants to know Jake's opinion. Jake bit his lips. The mute's face was in his mind very clearly. It was like the face of a friend he had known for a long time. He had been thinking of the man ever since he had left his room. I didn't even know he was a dummy, he said finally. So he didn't give him his opinion.
Any information.
No, he said, well, I don't know him because I didn't even know he was a dummy. Well, he left the cafe. He walks along the deserted street. He did not walk as a stranger in a strange town. He seemed to be looking for someone. Soon he entered one of the mill districts bordering the river. The streets became narrow and unpaved, and they were not empty any longer. Groups of dingy, hungry-looking children called to each other and played games. The two-room shacks, each one like the other, were rotten and unpainted. So you see, the description is the description of a shantytown. Es como una villa miseria, ¿sí? The stink of food, so also the smell, the stink of food and sewage mingled with the dust in the air. Because the people who worked at the mills were poor people. The falls up the river made a faint rushing sound. People stood silently in doorways or lounged on steps. They looked at Jake with yellow, expressionless faces. He stared back at them with wide brown eyes. He walked jerkily, and now and then he wiped his mouth with the hairy back of his hand. Well, he gets to the place, yes. It had once been used as a junkyard for old automobiles, yes. So it's an abandoned place, no? A place full of rest of cars, yes, pieces of machinery. Well, he approached slowly. He meets two little young guns in overalls and a Negro man. He asks the man, "Who's the manager of this outfit?" And the Negro says, he a red-headed man. "That's all I know, Captain. Where's he now?" "He over there behind the largest wagon." Había wagon, porque es como un circo, ¿no? Que con los carros. So Jake slipped off his tie as he walked across the grass and stuffed it into his pocket. Because he had a tie in case he offered himself for a kind of more administrative job. But now he's going to offer himself as a mechanic. So he puts the tie into his pocket. The sun was beginning to set in the west. The owner of the show stood smoking a cigarette by himself. His red hair sprang up like a sponge on the top of his head, and he stared at Jake with gray, flabby eyes. "You the manager?" "Mm-hmm. Patterson's my name. I come about a job in this morning's paper. Yeah, I don't want no greenhorn. I need experienced mechanic." Yes, a greenhorn. I sent you the meaning. Is somebody
Es
without
un
experience.
novato, es un novato.
Claro, no quiero un novato, que esté verde, ¿sí? La idea de que verde es con poca experiencia es lo mismo en español, ¿sí? Alguien que está verde. So, "I got plenty of experience," Jake said. "What you ever done? I've worked as a weaver and loom fixer. I've worked in garages and an automobile assembly shop. All sorts of different things." Patterson guided him to the partly covered flying genie. The motionless wooden horses were